Jamal Woodson with Slam Cares. Super excited to tell you that I finally found the perfect family to support for 1 year. Before I tell you what's next, I want you to hear Deshauna Morris tell her story on how she got to where she is now, why she's homeless. Homelessness is a serious issue, and I would love your support in helping make all this possible.
I'm from Pittsburgh. I grew up on the north side my whole life, as far back as I can remember. I had a medical issue. Worked for a company for 17 years. And while I was on leave, I was terminated. It took a little while to get that short-term disability, long-term disability payments together, which took it impacted my credit, which gradually dropped. Lost my house because of it. We ended up renters by the grace of God. And with everything going on with real estate, after our third year, the landlord decided he wanted his property back. And that was it. We ended up in shelter. And then through the shelter, we aligned with another landlord. Not such a good landlord. And 6 months into the lease, our hot water tank busted, and he completely ignored every request to come fix. And as the winter months came upon us, we went 3 months without hot water. And then we noticed the rodent situation, which as it got colder, got worse. And again, calls, text messages, everything, went, they were just ignored. But because of my credit score, I didn't look like a good renter on paper. And we ended up back in shelter. Being homeless was always one of my biggest fears. So I felt like I did everything right. Went to school, got my degree, feeling like my kids couldn't depend on me. It was a hard pill to swallow. And trying to hold back the emotion, with the idea that I needed to stay and be strong for them. And one day I couldn't hold back anymore. And my son said, "Mom, we'll get through this. This is temporary. We have each other. We'll get through this together." And it made me feel a little better. But still that feeling like, they depend on me. And if you can't trust who you depend on, then, it kind of devalues what you feel like your purpose is. They didn't ask to be here. And they definitely didn't ask to be in this situation. I think not having our own, the freedom to just wake up and go, to use a bathroom or a kitchen that in a place that is yours. And I get it. We're a different kind of, as my son calls it, houseless. Everyone's situation isn't the same. There are literally people that are sleeping on the sidewalk. So to be grateful to at least have beds for us to sleep in, and be able to use my car as an escape. One of the biggest misconceptions of someone who's houseless, the biggest one, we're lazy. That is the biggest misconception, and we get treated that way. I am up at 6, and I usually don't go down until 1 or 2, because I'm preparing for the next day. And if you sit still, you get comfortable, and you can't get comfortable. In our current situation, there's no way we could get comfortable because there are so little resources. I don't think enough people know what's happening, and I don't think enough people care. I'm African American, so there must be a drug issue. There must be an alcohol issue. And I don't have any of that. My issue was literally your story of we are all living 1 or 2 paychecks away from being in our cars or on the street or in a shelter. What are some of the things that I'm looking forward to? I guess just having my kids' happiness and their comfort and their relief, just to say, okay, that part of this journey is over. I appreciate them. They are young, but have been so supportive. And they don't understand everything because they're kids, but I appreciate their support. I appreciate them standing by me and with me. And just those days where it definitely seems harder. There was a point in time in life where we had it all. And you look at it like that. And then just like that, we lost everything. The things that I would do differently, that's a hard one because honestly, it's part of the journey. And as hard as this is, it's been character building. I don't know if I'd change anything. And that's hard to say because we're still in it. That's hard to say. I don't know if I'd change anything, especially for myself. Like I said, it's character building. I know my kids, as hard as it is, I know there's something there for them to pull from. That'll definitely be for the betterment of their future. If nothing else, to share with someone else. For whatever reason, we needed to, and it hasn't been exposed yet in its entirety. I think I know what God wants from me being here. I don't think I'd change anything.
Help us end homelessness. Be a part of SLAM Cares. Call 412-475-1294 or log on to our website, slamcares.com.